Hello and welcome to One Sheet, unique techniques and tools in Revit for creating intelligent design concepts using only one sheet. This is lesson 2 for using Jarvis, the downloadable file I have available, and this lesson is about design options, which is what we need to understand before we go any farther here. So I'm going to open up my Revit file, open up Jarvis. So with this file, if you're using LT, Revit LT, I'm using the full version of Revit, but if you're using Revit LT, this is a crucial step. You're going to want to make sure that design option is enabled. I'm going to go over to File, Options, User Interface, and you're going to see a check mark somewhere, I believe, on this area of the window, which just says Enable Design Options. You're going to want to make sure that the box is checked for that. I don't have that box, again, because I'm using the full version here. What that's going to do is going to enable your design options, which show up down here at the bottom of the sheet. To see your design options, simply click this down arrow. And in this file that I've created here, we've got, well, first of all, every file comes with main model. That's outside of any design option. That's where everything exists. And your design options can kind of be separate from that. In this file, I have 2 sample projects. Don't worry about the differences now. What we're going to be mostly working with is this sample project, master plan with service. And this is set to primary. So when you open this file, this is going to be the first thing that you see. Beyond that, I have options 1 through 6 available, which are all empty. And I also have an empty design option just in case you need to start from scratch for any reason. And it's also always good to just have that as a design option, to have an empty slot there. The first thing you'll notice maybe next is that this is set to primary. This has primary in parentheses. That basically means that when I'm working just in the main model, the primary design option is what's considered part of that main model. So if I were to go and change that, you'll see what happens. So to go in and modify any of this stuff, you want to select this box to the left of your design options. And move my face out of the way here. And you're going to see that you have all these options for all of these. Now, since this is set to primary, let's see what happens if we change the primary to something else. For instance, let's change the primary to option 1. And we're going to select option 1 and then come down here and it'll say make primary. We're going to go ahead and do that. Make primary. And it's going to be important to note kind of what happens on the one sheet that we're looking at once this is done. And this may take a couple seconds depending on how big your project is, because we're not just changing the geometry here, we're changing all of the information. It's all tied together in this process. So here we go. We're now on option 1 as our primary option. Let's exit out of that. That just basically means now we're starting with a clean slate. You'll see some of your views all disappear, a lot of your data disappears because there's nothing there, right? So the thing that you'll want to notice is we're still on the main model here. So if we actually want to work in this option 1, we need to set the design option, the current design option, to option 1. So now we're both working in option 1 and we are set to option 1 as our primary. This is normally how you want to be working. So in this situation, before we move on to lesson 3, this is a quick lesson. I want to set this master plan with service back to our primary option, and I'll talk about why in the next lesson. Before we do that, we do need to finish editing. That basically just means we're done. And you'll notice if these are grayed out, that's all you have to do. Just select finish editing, select this, go back to making that our primary. Another important kind of note here is if you are working in a design option and you notice you can't select something, oftentimes it's going to be this little checkbox down here, and I'll show you. Exclude design options or exclude options. So when we click into something, right now you're going to notice I can't select anything. Well, that's because we're in our main model, and we're not in our primary design option, so I can't select anything. All you have to do is uncheck this box, and now this all becomes available to check. So a lot of times when you close Revit or you go to another sheet, which we won't be doing here, obviously, you may have to uncheck that more than once while you're working here, and that's where we want to start, where we want to kick off before we actually start doing anything with this project. So make sure that we have your design options set to this sample project with service here, and also make sure to have that set as your primary before we move forward. That's going to do it for this lesson, and let's move on to lesson 3.